I'm Stan Miller. I'm the PR manager for Rockwell Automation in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I am joined here today by Luca De Ferrari. He is our manufacturing technology leader at Rockwell Automation, and John Miles, our global industry leader. Both of these gentlemen have unique insights into the automotive and tire industry that we're going to share with you in this quick video Q&A. Luca and John are going to be at our automotive and tire industry panel, with Luca leading that panel. It's part of our Automation Fair at Home event happening November 19th at 2 p.m. Central Time. We're going to give you a taste of some of those industry insights right now. So to kick us off, Luca, since you are our moderator for the automotive industry panel, I hope it's okay that I start with you. Question is, how is the concept of the digital thread important in the automotive and tire industry? And what types of lift can technology and solutions offer to automakers?
Yeah, thank you, Stan. Thank you for the question. So I would start off by saying that the automotive industry is changing at a pace that probably we have never seen before. We're seeing several investments being made in disruptive technologies everywhere. And these disruptive technologies, just to name a few, think about autonomous driving, electrification, connectivity, diverse mobility is another one. And the reason why we're seeing this investment is because automakers are trying to find a way to remain competitive in today's global landscape. So we see that these investments are worth it when they're backed by the capability of introducing their new products, new processes, and also new technology in an accelerated fashion, and basically rethink how the products are made. I've been in this market for over 12 years, and one time the question was, can digital technology help me? Today the question is, how can I implement digital technology faster? Automotive have realized that by going digital, they can certainly increase their production efficiency. They can be more flexible. They can connect their supply chain and basically get new products to market faster to cope with these new trends that we see in the economy. So, what is the digital thread? In automotive, the digital thread, what it does, really in few words, is to connect people, processes, technology, and final products all together. And at the foundation, there's basically a seamless information flow among technologies like MES, product lifecycle management, predictive analytics, and augmented reality. I would like John maybe to share a few examples of how the digital thread or a component of that is applied to the industry. So maybe John, would you like to share some thoughts?
Very good, Luca, and thanks for setting the framework, for the question, and for Stan for having me today. One of the things that's extremely important, especially in the auto and tire industries, is time to market. But in getting products to market as fast as possible, you have to keep quality top of mind. You have to keep safety top of mind. But in general, you have to keep cost top of mind. You really want to come in with your launches on time or under time and within budget. And one of the things that the digital thread is really pushing in the industry is, if you're going to do anything, it has to be digital, as Luca said. There's no launch that's happened that I've seen that doesn't have some sort of digital thread or digital piece to it. It's either you go digital or you don't go at all. And one of the things that we've seen is people are emulating or trying to virtually commission pieces of their equipment as the designers release it. They're trying to do everything virtually before they build it, so that they don't have to rebuild something, so they don't have to take excruciating amounts of time traveling around the world, validating prototypes. And if you can do that in an emulation space, which Rockwell and other partners offer with certain technologies, they're able to reduce this time to market, but also be able to tie things back and work across different geographies. Almost, you could even do it in real time. I had an EV manufacturer I know actually work on a design with team in Germany, and they said, hey, put on your VR goggles and let's go into the design together and verify this is going to work. And the great thing about it is you can verify something's going to work even down to the control code, so that once you finalize that design, you can literally build it and it'll work as soon as it's built. So that's really important. And then in the tire industry, we're also seeing that everyone's trying to digitize and serialize production, even back to the Banbury's and the raw material that comes into the tire plant. Many moons ago, when I was in the field as an engineer, we started implementing just-in-time manufacturing for the tire industry. And if you didn't, we started to put together and connect the machines and create a digital thread amongst everything, because if you serialize more and more and more, it's really the only way to enable that just-in-time manufacturing, as opposed to just making a bunch of tires and then hoping people buy them. You basically make them as the demand comes. And the digital thread enables that. And it also enables the tire manufacturers, a very, very competitive industry, to get their products, innovative products, to market faster. So those two examples come to mind, Luca, based off of the framework that you laid out.
That's excellent insight from both of you guys. Thank you very much. It's remarkable the opportunities that technology can unlock. Well, let's continue the conversation. And John, if it's okay, I'd like to ask you this next question first. How are successful automakers and tire producers adapting to unexpected shifts in the economy, including keeping up with the needs of, for example, a changing workforce?
Yeah, so I'd be remiss to not say we're in interesting times, in different times now, right? With COVID and with basically the U.S. administration renegotiating some of our trade agreements, and a lot of things happening within the EU and NATO, and so if there's anything that's constant in all this, it's change, right? And what the economy is telling manufacturers is you need for change, and you need to build in flexibility into all of your manufacturing processes. And this really can happen with technology as well as people. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it has to be with both. And in doing so, you really have to make sure that your supply chain, the stuff that's upstream and downstream, is really just as connected and flexible as what you're doing within the plant. That flexibility and capability, let's just say for whatever reason, some tariffs come into play and it's going to cost you 20% more on average to do something. You might have to automatically shift production somewhere or reshore manufacturing, which we're seeing in a lot of different continents. And when you do so, you have to be able to work with the equipment you might get, say, out of Asia or out of the US, just as well as and vice versa, right? So you're going to have to be able to reconfigure things and really shift things almost, you could say over a weekend if something goes into play that you might have to, it might impact an ongoing project. You're going to need to make that shift. So technology can allow that, but really having your people in different geographies and your partners ready to account for that change is key. And another thing is really being able to predict shifts in the economy. So a lot of times when people launch, I just had a customer reach out to me yesterday that said, hey, listen, we have a meeting with the board tomorrow, and I really need to know, 2 or 3 different options of suppliers, that are Rockwell friendly, in case the board says we don't want to do this in X said continent and we want to do it here. Can you help me? So I had to, work with him to understand, what was acceptable, what was not, where, areas of, evaluation. But he was able to go into his board meeting now to be able to make that analysis, to say, hey, listen, here are some options in case you don't want to do it this way. So it's coming down to the board level and decision maker level to have options to account for that change as well.
Oh, thank you for that, John. And Luca, anything that you would like to add on to that question, or tack on to what John mentioned?
Yeah, maybe I'll add perspective on the second part of the question that you asked regarding changing workforce. So, there's no doubt that digital transformation is redefining jobs in manufacturing, if you will. What we are seeing by talking with our customers is that the industry leaders and who's successful in following this trend is basically embracing a work environment that blends advanced technology and the digital skills with human creativity and ingenuity. And this typically yields the highest level of productivity. So combining the expertise and the creativity of people with the power of the machine is the key. But not only the environment, the work environment is changing, also the workforce is. For example, young workers now expect to start working in a manufacturing plant where technology and automation is a given, right? In their ideal work environment, they see automation and technology to simplify their daily jobs. So they expect that. Think about, for example, a quality manager that is hired and has to deal with tons of quality paper forms to do their job. That's no longer acceptable. Or, for example, a line supervisor using Excel to pull together data from multiple devices or multiple data sources and prepare a report for his manager. These are very inefficient ways of doing things. And actually, younger workforce no longer accept having to deal with such of inefficiencies. So technology can help. But I talk about young workers. I would like also to talk about the problem related to retiring workforce. That's also a big problem nowadays. Think about, for example, people that have been working on a manufacturing floor for 20, 25, 30 years and that develop best practices. They have a lot of lessons learned in their head. They have perfected standard operating procedure and so on and so forth. And now they are retiring, right? So we're seeing that successful leaders are finding ways to leverage technology to basically capture that knowledge, capture that experience, and make it available to the broader workforce. So if you think about it, you're not only gaining a very valuable asset, which will stay and persist in your organization, but also by means of technology, you can spread the knowledge quickly among new hire or new employees that have to perform the same job. So technology can bring a lot of help when we're talking about changing workforce and changing, let's say, the work environment.
Guys, that's really, really great context and some really compelling examples. All right, so last question, Luca, if you would not mind answering first, please. Question is demand. Demand for last mile delivery it's exploded recently, right? How and why is this becoming such a disruptive element within the industry?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And first off, I would like to set the stage on last mile delivery, what it actually is. So, in a product's journey, last mile delivery is basically the final step of the process when basically the product gets from the warehouse to the customer doorstep. If you look at the total cost for shipping and delivery, the last mile delivery actually represents the highest share of the cost. So why I'm saying this, it's basically because the last mile delivery represents an area where delivery and logistics company are making investment in new technologies to try to cut costs, and where continuously they're trying to find a way to optimize it. Right. So what does this mean for automakers? We are seeing companies, for example, like Amazon, that are looking to electrify their delivery vans. Why? Not only to save money on gas, but also to comply with the more pressing regulations. That was not a concern in the past, but it become a concern now. We're seeing companies like UPS or FedEx that are looking at new technologies, new ways to deliver packages to their customers. And they're looking in technologies such as autonomous or semi-autonomous vehicles and electric trucks. Then, if you combine this new trend with also the fact that governments are creating incentives, not only to companies, but also to consumers to embrace green technologies, this is really disrupting the world and the industry. I think if you look at this from both a B2B perspective, I mentioned Amazon, UPS buying vans and trucks, but also from a B2C perspective, the traditional, automotive customer that needs to buy cars and kind of follows these trends around technology. We see this as very disruptive in the industry, and certainly a trend that automakers are, cautiously evaluating to make sure that they're kind of ahead of the game. Maybe John, would you like to add anything to what I just shared? Maybe share your perspective.
No, definitely, and appreciate all those examples, Luca. Like I said, the e-commerce has exploded, and COVID has actually, put more and more pressure on folks, right? To be able to, if you're going to be staying at home most of the time, you're not going to be going into the office. You're going to have, a lot of people. I don't know if you're one of those people, but a lot of people are typically used to having stuff delivered to their offices, right? When people work in the office, they say, hey, just send it here and I'll go home with it after. That completely flipped on its head, right? Now that everyone's at home, and people are buying more and more stuff from Amazon, Alibaba, etc. But what's happening is a lot of the you could say light duty, medium duty van companies. A lot of startups are coming up that are being asked to be a part of this. And folks, there's a company called Arrival in the UK that's doing some things. There's a company in the US called Rivian who's doing some things, and Change and a few of these other companies are being asked to buy these e-commerce companies to form partnerships and then to bid on other large programs. But what they're bidding on is fleets of different types of EV or hybrid type vehicles, last mile delivery, like you said, vans, small vans, large vans, etc. There's even some that have done what they call the volocopter. They basically take they have a little drone that sits on top of a van, and that van will go and just tour the neighborhood and drop things in your yard or at your doorstep, right? So a lot of innovation is happening there. But what's happening, what's challenging for the automakers is, just say I need 5,000 of these vans, and I need them tomorrow. If you don't have an entire production line set up, say like a major automaker that you can configure, then you're kind of gonna be in trouble. And plus, a lot of these startups don't have their own battery supply. So because batteries are the fuel of the future for vehicles, right? For EVs. So what people have had to do is be able to find ways to build vehicles quickly. Maybe not buying, say, a traditional body shop. Maybe they would use composites. Maybe they would use a different type of body altogether. Sometimes they would maybe not even paint the vehicles. Maybe they would wrap them and do certain things like that. Because if you're familiar with automotive production, a paint shop, a body shop, a stamping, press, those projects take 2 years just to get the equipment ready for production, right? So in order to say I need 5,000 of these vans in 3 months, people have had to figure out ways to do things quickly, efficiently, and for high quality. So that's really putting a lot of pressure on folks to be able to come up with, first of all, the capital to do so, but then the flexibility and the technology and to form the partnerships to do so as well. But it's a really exciting space because our company is excited because we can provide solutions, services, hardware, what you name it, in order to make that happen, and we can do it in every geography. So it's just great for our teams, and they feel there's a new challenge for us to meet a customer need.
Thanks, John. That's great stuff. And Luca, thank you as well. We are running out of time, but to our viewers, everyone, we hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you'll be visiting the Automotive and Tire Industry panel on the 19th. You'll learn how technology is helping manufacturers cope with unprecedented and unexpected challenges while at the same time boosting their productivity. I can tell you, whether you are a leading automotive and tire manufacturer, a startup company, or a tier supplier building and delivering manufacturing solutions, this industry panel is a must-attend a session. So you can register at automationfair.com, and we're looking forward to seeing you there.